I'm going to be reading from the first part of the novel Mofongo, in which the two main characters, Sebastian and his grandmother, Abuela Lola, are having a conversation with each other. And I think it will give you a sense of who they are and what their relationship is like. "Have you ever made carrot cake before?" Sebastian asked, knowing that many years ago his grandmother had worked as a cook for a wealthy family in New York. He was intrigued by the thought of his grandmother in such a place as he'd seen only in the movies, where the pace was a whirlwind and the buildings touched the sky and the sound of honking horns and sirens was incessant. This was difficult to comprehend when Ola was all about peace and quiet and pleasant conversation about birds and flowers and the memory of candlelight. Ola squinted behind her spectacles as she tried to remember whether or not she had ever made carrot cake. "I might have made it once or twice. You know, when you worked for that family in New York," he said, trying to coax her memories forward. Ola crinkled her nose, and then her chin began to quiver as it did whenever she was upset, and not being able to remember seemed to upset her more than anything else. So Sebastian quickly changed the subject to something he was sure she would enjoy talking about. "What did you like best about living in Puerto Rico before you moved to New York?" Ola's chin stopped quivering instantly, and she drew a long, satisfying breath. "Oh, so many things," she replied wistfully. "We lived high up in the mountains, and a little road no wider than the path out front led to our house, and from there we watched the hawks flying overhead, and sometimes on a clear day, beyond the vast carpet of green below, we could see the sea glistening in the distance, and sometimes we could even taste the salt in the air, and at others it was as sweet as caramelized sugar and cream. Not ordinary cream, but the kind of thick, luscious cream that is delicious all by itself. As a girl, one of my favorite things to do was to sit on a rock overlooking the valley below with a bowl of fresh cream. It was like sitting on the edge of heaven while eating the clouds from the sky." "And this is where you learned how to cook, isn't it?" Sebastian asked, picturing the basic kitchen she had described to him so many times before. It had an indoor stove with a propane tank, and when this ran out, which it often did, they relied on the large coal grill that could be used inside or out. "Yes," she replied with a nod, "and where I learned that a meal prepared with love not only feeds the body, it also nurtures the soul." Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you will read the rest of Mofongo.